Most of the puzzles and blueprints are very firmly hinted at. This game is designed in a way that no matter how you approach it, there are usually a multitude of hints scattered around the world, accessible in very different ways, making one person's playthrough entirely different from another's. This can be no more obvious than taking a look at the comments of my previous blueprints videos. As much time and effort as I've put into them, I've definitely forgotten to include some of these hints. Some of them I didn't even previously know about at all, even with 600 hours in the game and around 200 additional hours from the demo. That is how well designed this game is, and how thoughtful the developer was to leave these breadcrumbs everywhere. Among all of these puzzles, however, there are certainly a few, especially in the endgame, that are more deviously concealed. The subject of today's video is one such puzzle, so keep in mind that this video, even more than my previous, will contain massive spoilers. As always, however, I'm gonna try to structure this video so that I hint first and then jump into the spoilers. Anyway, I'm Fury, and now let's talk about Ascension. But before we begin, if you've been enjoying my videos and you're able to, and you would like to help support me as a creator in a time of need, you can do so at any of the links I'll leave down below. Patreon, Ko-Fi, even Nexus. If you have any suggestions for Patreon incentives, I'm totally open to that. Just let me know down below. Thank you guys for everything and anything you can help at all with, even if it's just the view and a comment. I might make a video talking about some of what's been going on soon, but until then, let's just get back to this one. Thank you. When you first find the throne room black print, and if you don't know how to, I have this video here that should guide you there, you should notice this curious statement on it: reclaim the crown. The former seat of power of Orenda Ares before the current era and the rise of the Red Banner. Okay, I guess we'll reclaim the crown, but how do we even begin with that? I mean, a lot of people playing this game may read this and have no idea at all that it's hiding actually a very huge amount of endgame content. And not just for what I'm going to cover in this video, but for the next gigantic video as well. You would be forgiven for not even noticing the further hints that this game gives you for this, since they are quite obtuse. That is, until you unlock a certain book. The first time you enter her ladyship's chamber, you will undoubtedly find her locked diary and wonder how to open it. This is the location of our biggest hint, so finding the diary's key is our first objective. Her ladyship's chamber itself is the old bedroom of your grandmother, Lady Clara Epson, who has, sadly, prior to the events of the game, passed away. This might then give us the hint for where we might find the key to potentially her deepest secrets. We can then deduce that the key is most likely within the tomb. But where? The tomb itself does hide many secrets, most of which I've already covered in prior videos. There are some curious dead ends in this architecturally bewildering catacomb. By bringing the burning glass or the torch into the tomb, one might make several discoveries. At the end of this hall waits the final resting place of your grandmother, Clara Epson. And, behind her photograph, the key to her diary. Answers at last. Well, turning around, we can find a note written entirely in Erajan and penned by Clara herself. This note has absolutely enormous implications. Some of the most important lore we learn in the game comes from this tiny piece of paper. So if you don't want that spoiled and you want to translate this for yourselves, since it is another fun challenge to do so, please go and skip to the next chapter. For the rest of us, we're about to learn something pretty huge about Simon, the player character, and his family. Orel Dajiris, to my first child, Ulel Dao, you are my day. Ulel Nai, you are my night. Ulel Mora, you are my world. To you, I gift my home in the south. Tomorrow, your future will be without me. Tomorrow, my future will be without you. But first, I bid you heed my word. You are my odd child. You are not of House Sinclair. You are not of House Epson. Forget your dreams in the north. Your name is Jeari. Your future is towards the south and away from Fen. Your dreams lie away from your father, towards Erajan, towards the south, and a new future. Goodbye, my child. Your mother. If you don't know what this was just saying, let me spell it out for you. This is a letter from your grandmother to your mother in the game. All of her life, your mother thought that her father was a Sinclair and her mom was an Epson. Clara Epson. However, in this letter, Clara is telling your mom, you are not a Sinclair. You are not an Epson, because I am not an Epson. You are Jari, and the Jari are the royal family of the country or realm of Erajan. Your grandmother, Clara Epson, is actually the Princess Caitlin Jari, born in exile, making you the real certified blue prince.
I'm a prince. I'm a prince.
Probably. And of course, we're going to get into this in more depth in the giant lore video that I make eventually. But for now, with our minds suitably blown, probably, let's move on. There's also a Mora Jai box next to this note, and here's the solution to that. Returning to her ladyship's chamber, we may unlock that diary at last. The bulk of it has to do with her insomnia and the effects that sleeping in certain rooms causes. This is another really cool mechanic that this game has that I did already cover in this video. However, she doesn't list the effects of sleeping in every single variety of bedroom that exists in the game. And we, the community, don't know if there are any effects for sleeping in these other rooms, such as the boudoir. The effects could possibly exist and just be very difficult to determine. There could even be a secret only accessible by first sleeping in one of these rooms. We don't yet know. Anyway, in addition to her ladyship's sleep study, it's really this page, the final page of the diary, that we're here for. This is our big hint, which is obviously a drawing of the western yard. There's the bridge crossing the stream, and then the plot for the outer room. Except this drawing shows a room placed in there that has 3 more exits. Interesting. You can try any number of rooms that have 4 doors, but what this drawing is trying to tell us is that we need to draft the antechamber out here. So we pay a visit to the shrine and we make an offering of 13, 29, 45, 61, or 77 coins in order to get the blessing of the monk, and then it's just a matter of reaching the antechamber and ending our day inside there. On the following day, we enter the western yard, crossing the bridge and drafting the antechamber as the outer room. The central podium rises, containing once again the basement key and a little note, of course, except this time, that note reads, "So close, yet so far away." Really? I wonder what we have to do now. Entering the basement and progressing through to the inner sanctum, we pull that lever that opens the inner door of the antechamber. Once again outside, we re-enter that copy of the antechamber, and we can already see the statue of a monk inside. 2 statues of monks. In the smaller one's offering bowl, a small piece of paper. Steady is the scepter. Deadly is the stone. Heavy is the crown. Ready is the throne. In a fantastically creative twist, this same clue can be found if you end your day inside the garage and then draft that outside. But you won't find the clue itself in the garage. In order to find it, you will first need to power the garage inside using the utility closet. This will allow you to open the garage door out here as well. And of course, on the other side of the garage door, you will find the 2 monks, with the smaller one holding the clue inside his offering bowl. And that is the main hint for what you have to do. The other hints that I mentioned are quite small, and they're just images that you can find in the game. The first one can be found in the grade 6 history class as one of the images on the slide projector. This one right here, which shows the coronation of King Teskin of Fen. For the next image, you're gonna need to know how to access the original manuscripts of your mother's books, the Red Prince, and A New Clue. That information on how to access this can be found after you solve the 8 Realms in 8 Months puzzle. So I'll give you a chance if you don't know how to already solve that. I made a video about that too. It's in my gigantic nearly hour-long video on all of the Sanctum keys and Sanctum doors. It's at the very end of that video. So I'll pause real quick to give you time to maybe solve that if you need to solve that. And now, in order to open the secret chamber containing the manuscripts, you need to go down into the tomb, and you need to interact with the statues of the paragons in this order. Orinda with the royal scepter, Lydia with the switch, Rinna with the hoe, Joya with the baker's peel, Dauja with the pitchfork, Vea with the duster, Mila with the broom, and then all the way down to Draxus, paragon of death, with the scythe, of course. After interacting with the scythe, the wall behind the statue lowers, revealing a chamber containing the 2 manuscripts. It is inside the manuscript on the left, the manuscript of the Red Prince, where we can find the next image. The Red Prince on the throne, wearing a crown, holding a scepter, as well as a curious stone idol. So our ultimate goal here is to enter the throne room while carrying the royal scepter, which I showed how to obtain in my previous video, and wearing the crown of the blueprints, which can be obtained inside of room 46 at any time, and finally the cursed effigy. In order to obtain the cursed effigy, we need to jump through a series of hoops. Flaming, deadly, barbed hoops. The cursed effigy is found within the cursed coffers, which will only appear for sale in the Mount Holly gift shop after you first buy and read The Curse of Blackbridge. Probably. You see, during my first run on stream, I didn't have to buy and read The Curse of Blackbridge. Instead, the coffers were available for purchase after I offered money at the shrine for a blessing and then took that money back, cursing my save for 2 days. Afterwards, I was just able to buy the coffers. However, I recently tested this on a new save file, and I wasn't able to acquire them again this way, so I think it may have been a bug and is now fixed. But I was only able to test it that one time. So if any of you have recently obtained the cursed coffers without reading The Curse of Blackbridge, just let us know down below in the comments. Because again, I did receive them this way, but it's been a while. It was the first couple weeks after release. Anyway, unless somebody corrects me in the comments, just assume that you need to read The Curse of Blackbridge in order to obtain this. So, to that end, we're gonna have to draft the bookshop from the library, because that's the only place you can draft the bookshop from. And then we have to buy The Curse of Blackbridge for 40 coins in here. Once you do so, the following day, or the same day if you can possibly draft a second library, you can do this either with the Reading Nook or the Chamber of Mirrors, perhaps. But if you don't get a second library, you'll have to wait till the following day, and then you'll be able to request The Curse of Blackbridge from the library. And then finally, the day after that, the book will be waiting for you in the library where you can read it. You're gonna wanna read every single page, or at least flip through them. But I do recommend reading it. It is not only the longest book in the entire game, but it's also a very interesting story that I suppose is a true story, since the stone idol itself is real. But after either reading or just scanning through the entire book, you'll then be able to buy the cursed coffers from the Mount Holly gift shop for 13 coins. Cursed coffers, a permanent addition to the shrine. None would dare to open it with blood. Oh boy. Anyway, here is my first impressions of the cursed coffers on stream. The Morning Star allows us to knock locks off chests and trunks. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, this is a locked chest that I couldn't unlock. You have a bad feeling about this. Are you sure? And I promptly changed my mind. Because I was like, is this gonna be a permanent thing? Am I permanently going to curse myself? No, don't worry about it. Anyway, taking the mace or the hammer, you may break the lock off of the cursed coffer. The lid will then swing open, revealing a terrifyingly familiar sight. You foolishly picked up the deadly stone cursed effigy. Curse mode is now unlocked. Also, you are cursed. Because holding this curses you, and being cursed is quite difficult, I do recommend putting this into the coat check until you're ready to use it along with the crown and the scepter. However, at this moment, you will be cursed for the next few days. So I do recommend maybe waiting until this initial curse wears off before you then attempt the Ascension questline. As soon as you're ready, we'll begin by using the king power to set black prints as more common for today. This will allow us to more easily draft the treasure trove if we haven't already set it to common in the conservatory. In order to obtain the first item we need, the scepter. In order to complete this Ascension secret, it needs to be set to a very specific color. That color in 3 seconds. Since we are the blue prince in the game, naturally we want to set this to blue. The Ascension secret will not be triggered if any other color is chosen, keep that in mind. Next, since we set black prince to common for today, we should be able to draft the throne room itself quite easily. We're going to need this for later, of course, but there's also a lever in here to open the door to room 46. So we won't have to worry about heading all the way down to the sanctum for that. We'll just get that out of the way right now. Because our next step is to enter room 46 to obtain our second necessary item, the crown of the blueprints. And now, all that's left for us to do is to just draft the coat check and take the cursed effigy. If you didn't already place this in the coat check on a previous day, you'll need to draft the shrine outside and obtain the effigy from the cursed coffers. Either way, as soon as we pick up the effigy, our steps will be set to 13 as we've been cursed. So make sure you draft the coat check close to either the throne room or a source of steps like the kitchen or dining room. Anyway, with all 3 relics now in our possession, the scepter set to blue, we once again enter the throne room, and...
Steady is the scepter. Deadly is the stone. Heavy is the crown. Ready is the throne.
Throne of the Blue Prince. Oh, this floor plan is permanently ascended. The next time you draft 8 blueprints in a row, permanently unlock all blue sealed doors. Throne of the Blue Prince. The former seat of power of House Ares, enthroned anew in the 6th era of Mora and exalted beneath the blue banners of House Holly. Where the sigil of Arinda Ares was once affixed, the crest of her ladyship, the grand architect Baroness Waasephi, now presides over the court. The entire room has metamorphosized from the black throne room of Arinda Ares to the blue throne room of you, the true heir of Mount Holly Estate. Before we leave and work on trying to draft 8 blue rooms in a row, the next part of the quest, there is another Mora Jai Box in this room. The Mount Holly variation, my grandmother's own design. When you press a blue tile, it copies the ability of the middle tile. Oh great. Here's the solution. Again, I'm not going to commentate during this, so you can listen to the clicks and more easily solve it. And now, probably in a new day after the curse from touching the stone effigy has worn off, you have to draft 8 blue rooms in a row. This isn't so difficult anymore because of both the king power and the royal scepter and their powers combined, allowing you to vastly increase your chances of drawing blue rooms. However, blue rooms are the most plentiful of all the rooms, so they're not exactly rare anyway. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Seal unlocked. You know what that means. And if you don't, well. Spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Remember this video I made a while back now about the tunnel? Some people comment on that video about, hey, you didn't open that last blue door, here's how you do it. I knew all along how to open it. I just wanted to end that video when I did for cinematic reasons, and I felt that the other side of that room fit much more into this video. So, now let's head back into the tunnel and finally see what waits for us at its end. Parlor boxes. There are 2 true boxes in this room. There is no end to this journey. You have reached the end of your journey. If you decide to open the center box, turn to page 6, because that box is seemingly entirely empty. If you decide to open the box on the right, another seemingly empty box, however, this one displaying the spiral on the inside of the lid, representing our endless search for knowledge, which could be a curse as much as it is a blessing. In the developer's own words,
without mystery, there is no magic. And so I think that I think in anything in life, you never want to turn over every stone, because when you turn over the last stone, there is no mystery.
But finally, the box on the left. Oh, The Blueprints by Mary Matthew Jones. To my son Simon, in whose eyes I see the world anew. There was once a blue prince who sat on a blue throne. He had a blue crown made of sapphires and a blue castle made of stone. The prince had a love for all things blue. It's the only true color, in my humble view. He couldn't stand the tint of a hallway or a shop. He couldn't stand the shade of trees the green rooms brought. He seldom talked to others, for they rarely shared this view. He never went to town, nor saw the flags they flew. I didn't go to town yet. And do you know which game the prince instead would play? The one that made him happy whenever skies were gray. Blue Prince! A game he had played in the house and on the grounds, and maybe you can guess from the clues that we have found. It was a game full of rooms and the stories that we climb, about a house full of lies and the truth that one prince finds. And as you, my reader, might already assume, this game is quite near you, in fact, in the same room. A game about you and the plans that you made, about a blue prince and his blueprints, the blue game we just played. The end. Or is it? Nah, this is an ending of Blueprints, and it seems to be telling us that, as in life, we must make a choice. Do we keep searching for more answers, spiraling ever more? Or do we stop, content in what we have found? Maybe we'll never know exactly what happened to Marion Marigold, our mom. Well, despite this very strong and very touching theme, there is a lot more. This is not the end. There's a really, really big series of super hidden puzzles left for us that I'll be walking us through in the next video. For now, thank you very much for watching. I hope that this video helped you. Again, I appreciate every single one of you so much. Anyone new to this channel because of this game, anyone who's been here because of Noita, or even longer for years and years and years. If you've been here for a day, or if you've been here for 10 years, thank you so much. I've got a lot more on the way that I want to do. Perhaps even some gameplay here and there, I think. Again, I don't want to get into it really right now, but I am going through some pretty hard times at the moment. And without saying anything right now, I'm just going to reiterate that I could use any support any of you can offer, but only, really, 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 only if you can. Patreon, Ko-Fi, thank you for the support. All right, have a great day. I'll see you soon in the next video.